well. Your first name, last name?
Last name.
Tony, good to meet you. This is Cal.
Hey, how are ya?
What is your first name, if you don't mind? John? So, John, do you have any particular spiritual beliefs? Did you go to Assumption?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay. So, do you have any particular spiritual beliefs?
No.
No? So, let me ask you this. What do you think is going to happen to you when you die?
Body's gonna rot, and I don't know from there.
Okay. All right. Fair answer. Fair answer. John, what do you think is more important, what we believe or whether or not what we believe is true?
I believe it's true.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you walked up to me and said, "Hi, my name's John," and I said, "Hi, my name's Tiffany. I'm a 6'5" African-American all-star with the women's NBA," and I believe it with all my heart, it's never going to be true,
Never.
right? I'm going to be a 60-year-old pudgy white guy named Tony. That's who I am. If I go to the bank later and I walk up to the teller and give her a withdrawal slip for $1 million, and well, you know, look, hey, it could happen, right? But I've been in the bank a bunch of times. We're not a really big town, and she knows me, and she's surprised. But she doesn't want to embarrass me or her, so she's saying, well, maybe he got an inheritance, maybe he won the lottery, maybe he sold a business or something. So she does her due diligence. She types in my account number, gets a funny look on her face, says, "Mr. Miano, I can't honor this withdrawal of $1 million. Why not? You have $38.50 in your account." Well, that's not what I believe. I believe I have $1 million in my account, and I'd like my $1 million. And now we start to argue back and forth until she pushes the little red button under the counter, and the police show up because they think I'm trying to rob the bank. Doesn't matter what I believe about my account. What matters is what's true. Right? Doesn't matter in the end what we believe about God.
No.
What matters is whether or not what we believe is true.
No.
Do you think we can know truth? Do you think we can know what is true?
It's hard to believe.
Hard to believe that we can know?
Yeah.
Do you know that? Do you know that it's hard to believe that we can know?
No.
Well, look, you just made a truth claim. You asserted truth,
No.
right? So we can know. We can know truth. The reality, John, is that you and I, Cal, every person walking around us here, we were all created. We were all created in the image of God. You are not pond scum. Your ancestors didn't crawl out of the muck and mire and became a turtle and maybe evolved into a monkey, and now here we have John millions of years later. You and I were created in the image of God. Okay, we're not gods, but
It depends what God are we talking about.
There's only one. There's only one God.
Like, there's God, like alien God, or like creator of life, or builder of man.
There's only one God who did it all. God spoke all things into existence. This didn't happen by accident. It's not a big bang. Something didn't explode out of nothing and become everything. In fact, it's a scientific impossibility.
No.
We were all created in the image of God. And the way we know that, and the way we can know that for certain, John, is that you and I could just merely look at creation and know this didn't happen by chance.
Millions of years.
No, not even millions of years. But look, let's say you were the architect of this building. You
Yeah.
built it, right? There's a sign out front, built by John Caldwell and Associates. And people are coming to look at the building. It's a new building in town. And you're out there, you're gonna cut the tape before the doors open for the first time, right? Ceremony, you're standing by the cornerstone that you laid. And someone walks up and goes, "This is extraordinary." And you say, "Thank you very much." It's not, well, no, I don't know why you're saying thank you. That this would happen over billions of years by chance. That somehow the glass formed and the metal formed and the brick formed and the concrete formed. What really astounds me is that over billions of years, the word Scott County Courthouse and Jail just formed on its own over time. I can't believe
in Scott County?
Huh?
In Scott
in
County?
actual Scott County. How would it know that? And all of this just happened by accident. You would look at me, one, you'd think I'm nuts. Two, you'd be insulted because you're the one who actually built the thing. And I'm saying, no, John, you didn't build it. This is an accident. Yeah, that's how insane the idea of evolution over billions of years is. That something exploded out of nothing and became everything, and by accident over billions of years, You got two guys wearing glasses talking to each other about the fact that this building didn't just happen by accident.
True that.
Right? So the fact that there is a creation in and of itself testifies to the reasonable, rational, logical mind which you have that there was a creator. You can't have a creation without a creator, and nothing forms out of nothing. So that's one way that you know, in fact, that there is a God who created all things. Okay? The other way, John, is that this God who created you in his image has actually written his law in your heart. Unlike my silly little 17-pound dog at home, right? You know the difference between right and wrong.
Nope.
Right? We have courthouses for that reason, right? Nope. You know that it's wrong to lie. Yep. Now, you may have been raised to believe that, but there are cultures around the world that actually raise their children to lie, to steal, to rob, rape, pillage, and cheat. Yep. But those kids know it's wrong because the God who created them is not a liar. That's why you know it's wrong to lie. You know it's wrong to steal for the same reason, because the God who created you isn't a thief, and so on, right? So by the mere existence of creation, John knows that God exists. And by the fact that you know the difference between right and wrong, that this God who created you, unlike the fish and the birds and the dogs, but created you with a conscience, testifies to the reality that you know God exists. So here's where the dilemma begins. One day you're actually going to stand before this God to give an account for your life. And John, the truth is, he's not going to judge you based on what he sees in Tony. And he's not going to judge Tony based on what he sees in Cal. He's going to judge each of us according to that perfect moral standard, his law, that he's written on our heart. And the reality, John, is if you're honest with yourself, as I have to be every day, you've broken that law every day, right? In one way or another, either with your thoughts or your mouth or your actions. You've either lied or stolen or whatever. And the thing about sin, the thing about law breaking, is that time doesn't forgive that. If you stole something when you were 6, you're a thief. If you lied when you were 12,
you're a liar.
You're a liar. If you hated when you're 32, God sees that as murder of the heart, right? So when you die and you stand before this creator God, he's going to judge you according to the standard he's written on your heart. Same applies to me, everybody else. And because he's good, because he's holy and righteous and just, he has to punish that law breaking. And the punishment he's determined, because he alone is in charge, is sovereign over his creation. The punishment he's determined is hell. Now, are you just walking by, or do you have business at the court today?
I got business at St. Anthony's.
Oh, okay. Well, I need about 2 more minutes of your time.
You got it.
Okay, thank you. So let's say you were going to court today because you broke the law in some way. This is all hypothetical. I'm not suggesting you would do that, but I just want to paint a picture.
I've been in that courthouse before.
All right. So let's say, though, in this situation, I'll try to make this quick. In this situation, you're found guilty, whatever the crime is, and the judge determines to sentence you to death as a just punishment for your crime. And unlike our system where you're going to have 20 or 30 years of 3 hots and a cot and all the appeals you can muster, they're going to immediately, the bailiff, the deputy, is going to immediately take you into the next room. They're going to strap you to a gurney. They're going to drive a needle into your arm, and they're going to put you to sleep like a stray dog. Lethal injection. But before that happens, the judge who found you guilty, the judge who alone had the authority to sentence you to death, the judge steps down from his bench. He takes off those black robes of authority. He steps down and he says, John, you are guilty and you do deserve to die, but I'm going to take your place. And the judge, having found you guilty and sentenced you to die, walks into the next room, allows himself to be strapped to a gurney with your name on it, allows the needle to be driven into his arm with your name on it, and he dies the death you're supposed to die. Not because you're good, you broke the law. Not because you're innocent, you were found guilty. But because the judge chose to extend his love to you, to have the sentence fulfilled against him. What would you think of that judge?
I think he'd be an honorable man.
Okay, all right. That is a picture, John, of what God actually did. God the Father sent his Son to earth in the person of Jesus Christ, truly God, truly man, without sin. He lived a perfect life in thought, word, and deed from cradle to grave for some 33 years that John and Tony can't live for 33 seconds. Yet even though he never broke the law, At a time appointed by God the Father before the foundation of the world, God the Son voluntarily submitted himself to the torturous, bloody death of a Roman cross. He died a death he did not deserve, to take upon himself, John, the punishment you rightly deserve for your sins against God. And then he forever defeated sin and death when he rose from the grave. What God requires of you in response, John, is not just to nod your head and say, what an honorable man. What he commands of you, which is the same thing he commands of me, and all people everywhere, is that by faith, you turn from your sin, you turn toward God, and you put your faith and your trust in Jesus Christ alone for your salvation. And John, the good news is, he will forgive your sin. You'll be reconciled to the God you've spent your life offending, and you'll have the assurance of eternal life, not because you're good, but because of the goodness of God that would allow his Son to die for people like us who aren't good. That's the good news of the gospel.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, good meeting you too.
John, I have one word for you. I think in my life that you've just heard truth, and it has pierced your body. More than likely, you will never forget this conversation for the rest of your life. It will come back to you from time to time. And I would just encourage you to lean into that prompting and think about the things that you were told. Because that's what truth does. It pierces you into your inner being. Just like you know God exists, that God created you in your
good.
inner
How are you, sir?
Okay, do you know why the flags are half?
Yep, I'll tell you in just a moment. And if you do ever want to take Cal's advice, and you should, that's how you can get a hold of us.
All right.
We'd love to talk to you. All right.
Nice meeting you.
God bless you, John. Thanks for your time. Yeah, sir, the reason the flags are at half-mast, a police officer was killed yesterday.